And I just wanted to die. That was the most horrific thing I ever heard in my life. I lived this life. It's not fun. It's hell. When I walked in my doorway, it was just a fist in my face. I thought that he stopped, but he didn't. I'll just live with the abuse. And he looked at me and he said, give me your arm. And I gave him my arm. When I was a little girl and my parents were together, my biological father and my mother were together. My father had a severe alcohol addiction, and he was very, very mean to my mother and very abusive. I've seen it. It's all we knew, you know. Was you had to be quiet around town. You couldn't really play much. You know, everything had to be perfect. But all I really wanted was like love. There was like no love. I never realized that that affected me. No one to say I love you. Then I went to junior high school. I got on the school bus. I had planned with my sister that I was going to sit with her because I was going into 6th grade and she was in 8th grade, and there was no seats to sit with her. We had to sit with someone else, and I sat with this guy. And he said, what's your name? And I didn't even tell him my name. My sister said, oh, that's my sister, her name's Chanelle. And I'm just as a nervous wreck. And the guy was very persistent on knowing who I was. I kind of liked his interest in me, you know, someone showing interest in me. They noticed that I'm there. And, but I still was like iffy about it. And he told me one day, he said, you will be mine. And I told him, you're crazy. It's not gonna happen, buddy. And a few months later, I ended up going out with this man. And I found that attention. I found the love that I thought, I thought that was love at the time. But he had his own love issues. The first time he had put his hands on me, I was 13 years old. I hid it. I didn't let anyone know. He would come sleep over at our house, but he would have to sleep upstairs. And when everybody would go to sleep, I would sneak up there, whatever, you know. And one night I fell asleep and my sister was in my room, and he came in my room and he dragged me out of my bed by my hair because I didn't go upstairs by him. And he took me in my bathroom. And I just remember asking him to please be quiet. Like, I don't want anyone to hear, because I hid it. I didn't want anyone to know. So I had to hide it. And, but it was all done, you know. He went back upstairs and I went to bed, and my sister woke up the next morning and she said, Chanelle, that was the most horrific thing I ever heard in my life. And I said, please, don't tell anyone. Just don't tell anybody, because I didn't want him to go away. Because he loved me, I thought he did. And she did it. It was a secret. Now I have an issue, more than the love thing. Now I'm in love with this man that is not, I mean, we were kids. And I guess because my dad would abuse my mom, it was just something that I guess was okay. I really don't know. By the time I was 15 years old, he started selling drugs. And he was the big man around town, you know. The big guy. With anything you need, he's got it. After school one day, he had pulled up at my friend's house, and I knew I was in trouble when I seen him, and I just took off running. And he caught me, and he put me in the car, and he told him to get my stuff. And he brought me to his house, and he told his parents, his grandparents, she will be living with us. She's not going nowhere. So then I was trapped again with him. By the time I was in 10th grade, I had married this man. Still selling drugs. He was working. I stayed with my husband. And we had got taking pills. Doing coke, doing pills. That's what we were doing. I tried to stop, but I was addicted. I didn't have to feel the abuse anymore when he'd hit me. I mean, he would tell me it was mental abuse. He would tell me I was so ugly that he'd have to put a pillow over my face just to have sex with me. And I would have to let him do that, or I would get hit if I didn't. And I kept the abuse hidden so much that he told my family I was crazy. I was crazy. And my mother and my family believed him. And they took his side. And I just wanted to die. Then Hurricane Katrina happened. When I got to Missouri, the only thing they could get was heroin. And I was like, heroin? What? No way. But, so they had to make it to where I could snort it, because I wouldn't shoot it. And, so I snorted heroin for the first time. It numbed, and it took away mental and physical pain. Everything was okay. When we moved to Missouri, the abuse was just out in the open now. I was going to Walmart to get stuff for the house, and I went to give him a hug and tell him goodbye, that I was going to Walmart. And he was laying down, so I kind of just like laid, his chest. It was, a quick little hug and going to the store. Well, I was walking down the hallway, and he called me, and he said for me to come here. And when I walked in my doorway, it was just a fist in my face. Blood went everywhere. He busted my mouth open and stuff. So when the police came, because I wasn't from Missouri, and there was no excuse I could make up besides I'm not going to press charges on him. It's not going to happen. I was 26 then. Yeah, only guy I know. I don't know how to, I can't live without him. I'll just live with the abuse. One day, his sister had called me, and she said that she walked in on my husband shooting heroin. And I was like, no way. So I checked his arms, and he did. I told him he couldn't sell heroin anymore, he had to stop selling it. I thought that he stopped, but he didn't. And I fought him for 2 years about that. And he had came home one day, and I asked him, I said, what is so good about shooting heroin? And he looked at me and he said, give me your arm. And I gave him my arm. And he shot me with heroin. After I gave him my arm, I never stopped. I did it every day. From that point on. My brother was doing heroin also, and I got a phone call in the morning. Your brother's in the hospital, fighting for his life, and he has brain damage. And I don't get to talk to him anymore. He doesn't talk. He doesn't want nothing. And I just fell apart. I get a phone call. They found my sister dead. She had OD'd, heroin overdose. So I just got even more high. My sister, why is my sister laying in a casket from ODing on heroin, but I'm sitting in the bathroom at the funeral home shooting heroin? There's no words to explain how exhausting and tired I was. And if I just got my faith right with God, He would take care of my drug addiction. And I found that at the mission. I just had to find Him. And He would work it all out as long as I just put my eyes on Him and followed Him. He would take care of my addiction. And it's happened. And I'm truly amazed and happy and free. Like, I can't even explain how free and the excitement I found there. I never thought that that's what I would get out of this place. I just thought I would get away from the world, get off drugs, but I never knew that I could be so happy and so free. And it's truly exciting to know that my faith doesn't have to be in heroin anymore. I don't have to depend on heroin to get me through my day. I don't have to live like I'm walking dead every day, because I am alive. And my faith is in God now. And I found that at the New Orleans mission. I am free. I am free. By the grace of God and the mission, I'm free. And that's exciting today. I don't ever have to be addicted to anything ever again. Addicted to Jesus. That's it. My name is Chanelle, and I am a disciple.